Welcome back, everyone, to Afterglow. Today, I sit down with an absolute legend in the YouTube world. He is Joey Graceffa. He is a director, a producer, an author, and host of the fan favorite show, Escape the Night. To me, Joey is considered an OG YouTuber. He's been doing this for 2 decades, and he started out as a teenager, and he was known for his daily vlogs, and he did daily vlogs for years. Even though Joey and I started off on YouTube around the same time, our paths never really crossed until this episode. So this is really the first time I really get to sit down with him and go deep. And today's episode is also going to be different because I will have a co-host today. She is my producer, Chelsea, and she's also going to join us on this amazing conversation. So I hope you enjoy it. Welcome, Joey, to my podcast.
Thank you so much.
So excited to meet you.
This is such an honor for me, truly.
It's an honor for me. Are
no,
you
it's
kidding
not.
me?
We've been
No.
waiting for this for a few weeks
Yeah.
now,
Stop.
so
Oh
we're
my God.
excited.
I watched some of your videos leading up to this. And
Okay. So,
I have to say, I'm so impressed by your work ethic.
oh my God, thank you.
No, seriously, like you vlogged every day,
Yeah.
like every day for how many years?
I think it was 5, maybe.
5
Yeah.
years?
Is that like 1,000 videos? That's
Yeah.
more than I
It's
think.
wild. I kind of want to go back to it, but I feel like I need a boyfriend first to like kind of give me something to like play off of. I need a
Mhm.
co-host.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice having a co-host. It's nice having someone there because you're oftentimes, because right before we started this podcast, I was asking you, isn't it hard to do an intro for a video? Like,
It depends.
because you're just talking to a camera and there's no one else there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to have someone there where you can get that input and feedback.
Yeah, exactly. I actually have a vlog channel that I like every other day vlog when I'm like rescuing pregnant animals on the side.
Oh my
Um,
God.
Joey,
What?
okay, we're gonna
Wait,
dive
what?
deep because I feel
Okay.
like people don't
Yeah.
know. People don't know that Joey has a million lives.
Yeah,
Joey has done a
truly.
million things. So before YouTube and everything, I'd love to go back to your childhood.
Okay.
And
Let's start with some trauma.
well, I mean, like,
And-
hey, I love trauma. I
yeah.
love trauma bonding and talking about it, and then we can work on healing it. That's been
Yeah.
my thing. Has been
Oh,
healing
okay.
traumas.
Nice.
Um,
I've done a lot of healing, so I'm good to talk about
I feel
whatever.
that. I feel like this lightness in you.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yeah,
So
I've-
little Joey living in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
That's
I
where
grew
you
up
grew up.
in like a small town outside Boston. And like I go back now and I'm like, oh my God, it's so like picturesque and so
Mhm.
like slow paced. And I think I appreciate it more now, but as a kid, like I'm just like I feel like it's such a small town where people it wasn't very accepting to be like a little queer boy, like being flamboyant. So I definitely felt like I wanted to get out of that town, but now I appreciate it more.
Did you feel like growing up you couldn't really be yourself because of the environment? Like
Yeah, I
just how
think
small town it was?
yeah,
Or
like kids at school, my family, like my cousins and stuff definitely like made fun of my feminine like aspects of myself. So definitely felt like who I was at a core was there was something wrong with me. So it was a bit challenging.
Who did you want to be when you were growing up?
My sister,
Oh,
I have an older
really?
sister. She's 5 years older, and I thought she was just the coolest thing ever.
That's
Like I
amazing.
just wanted to like be with her, play with her Barbies, and like she's a Gemini. She's 5 years older than me, and she wanted nothing to do with me. She absolutely hated me. She'd like push me down the stairs and
damn.
all
Okay,
the
okay. We're
things.
talking about this trauma thing, I guess. We're
But you
going
guys are
deep.
good. Like,
We're good now. We're like
okay.
best friends. We
Well, that's
talk
how
every single
siblings are,
day.
man.
Right.
Siblings are we're
Yeah.
just mean to each other.
It's so funny because now she has a little Gemini and a Taurus, and the cycle's happening again. Like the
Her
Gemini
kids,
hates.
you mean?
Yes.
That's how life is. That's how karma
The
works, hun.
karma
Yeah.
is so funny. I'm
We're
like,
all lessons to each other. We all mirror each other in a way.
wow. I see it. Absolutely.
Wait, so any like first, like, this is who I want to be when you grow up?
I was a very imaginative kid, so I thought I was going
Mm.
to be an astronaut.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I fully saw myself going to space. I played a lot of make believe growing up to
Mm.
probably like just escape reality, and so I would like build spaceships out of cardboard boxes and just like live in my own little world. And when I got my first camcorder at 15, no, I was 8 years old. my, like, family got a camcorder, and I was like, "Oh my god, now I can, like, take my imagination and, like, record these crazy little home movies."
Oh my
Do you
And
still have
so
those home movies? They gotta
somewhere.
be somewhere. That'd be so fun to
Mhm.
kind of, like, open it and like a little
Yeah.
time capsule for
Yeah,
yourself.
definitely. That's a good idea.
So that's like the early beginnings of vlogging in a way, right?
It
This
really was.
camcorder?
I was, like, going around giving my,
The home
like,
movies.
family, like, house tour to who? I don't know.
MTV Cribs.
Yo,
Yeah,
you were training, you
I
were
know,
training.
but then I realized I wasn't recording, so,
Oh.
I made the mistakes in the early
Yeah,
stages, so
we've all been there. So, growing up, when did you decide, "Okay, like, I think I'm ready to get out of here and expand my wings?"
Oh my gosh. It was, like, a really depressing time. I was, like, in my first year in college, and I had been doing YouTube maybe, like, 4 years at that point because I started when I was 15 years
Oh,
old.
so you were still in high school
Still in high school. Oh,
doing
19? Wait,
well,
what?
you said you started YouTube at 15 or
Yes, I was in high school.
so did
Yeah.
people know? Did you hide your channel? Did
A few people knew.
but you weren't advertising it, right? You were
I
just
was not
doing it
advertising
low
it.
key.
Yeah, I thought it was so
What was
cool
your
though. Like,
content back then?
it was like basically just little skits, like comedy skits. Like we emulated Smosh and Brookers and like all these like old
Wait,
school
what
YouTube
year is this
channels.
again? Like this is
2007.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
You were I mean, I started in 2007. Yeah, you were
Oh,
OG as can
geez.
get.
Yes.
Wow.
And
And
so
you were doing these skits yourself or you had
I had
friends?
a friend. It was a channel called Winter Spring Pro. It was me and my best friend from high school, and we just made the craziest stuff. And then we
Wow.
learned quickly like what YouTube liked. And at that time it
Mm.
was very much like music video stuff, as you know, from like the
Mhm.
Lady Gaga stuff that
Mhm.
you did. Um, and so we played into like music video parodies. And
Oh,
that's what
I
really
remember
like
those.
started growing our channel. And so I was 19 years old in college and I was just alone and miserable. And I
Mm.
found myself gravitating to just like making friends online. And so the very first VidCon happened and I came out to LA and there was this group of creators that created the very first YouTube network called the Maker Studio.
I remember. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had like a channel called The Station and it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
basically like a collab channel. So anyways, one of the leaders, Lisa Nova, who's like this amazing OG creator,
Yes, yes, I remember her too. Yeah, yeah.
I met her and she was like, "Oh my god, I've seen your videos. Like, we should take a meeting." So we went to the station house and they're like, "We're forming this MCN called Maker Studios and we'd love for you guys to join." So basically packed up and moved to LA at 19.
Wow, wow. So
Did
they in a way, they kind of helped bankroll your channel to kinda get
Yeah.
you and did you stay at that house? Because I know there was some sort of vlogging house that a lot of
I
people kinda stayed in, right?
yeah, no, we
Yeah,
just got our own place and we would just
nice.
go into the studio and they would help us like record our content and they had producers and like film crew. So it was like I think they offered one video a month to help produce for our channel and the rest we had to do on our own, but it was so helpful just having that initial support.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Just
Yeah.
even having the community of creators, because I
Yeah.
feel like it's hard to create when you're isolated,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know? It's really,
It
really
definitely
hard.
is. You can do it for a while and then you kind of like burn out and you're like, "Ugh,
Mhm.
I want other people to interact with."
Did you
Yeah.
feel like there was a pressure growing up to be something? Like, or did you always like, were you like, okay, this is where I want to go? Like the videos of mock music videos.
I mean, I never saw YouTube as, like, a career path, I just
Right.
thought of it as, like, a hobby and stuff until, like, you could make money, but it still didn't seem like you could make that much.
Hmm.
So as a kid, I always wanted to also, like, get into acting because I felt like it was the closest way to experience these fantasy worlds that I love so much,
Mm.
so, like, seeing, like, these fantasy movies, I was like, "That's the only way I can, like, experience that." But then it changed when I got here and I was like, I'm just gonna focus on this YouTube thing because it's just what I love.
Oh, your parents are supportive and everything.
Yeah,
That's
they
amazing. That's
were.
great.
My mom and I had like a little bit of a tumultuous relationship. She was an alcoholic since I was 8 years old. So we had like a major like back and forth, but she was so supportive regardless of that. But it was just a very toxic environment that I was like, this is almost like a way to push me out of the house and like get me the hell across to the other side of the
Mm.
country because I couldn't be around that environment any longer.
Wow, you were so self-aware. to know that?
I don't know if I think it I think I can look back on it now and realize
Mhm.
it, but at the time it just felt like I need to escape.
Were you pretty intuitive growing up? Like, you kind of feel
I
things
think
and you
so.
follow that?
I feel like I was like a very empathetic child and like I definitely became a chameleon, especially being in that an environment with an alcoholic parent. You learn to tiptoe and kind of like
Mm.
assess the situation of like if she's like gonna be crazy one moment or if she's like in a good mood. So I kind of had to be very
Wow.
adaptive. And
Wow.
so I feel like it's definitely built a strength in me that I use in
Mhm.
other aspects of
Well,
my
in a
life.
way, you took, like, that saying, like, when life throws you lemons, make lemonade. I mean,
Yeah,
you did that.
no, for sure. I definitely didn't want to become a victim of that circumstance. So
Oh, I love that.
yeah.
Do you wanna tell us a little bit how you got started, like, filming every single day? Because before, what was your
Oh,
schedule like?
yeah. So I had a channel with my best friend that we moved out here together with. And we were doing music video parodies up until that point. And so I really just kind of felt like I needed to start my own journey. And so I created my own YouTube channel and I I moved here with some people that lived nearby and they were daily vlogging. Um, it was like another old school creator, Ingrid Nilsson, also known as Miss Glamorazzi.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
wow.
So she was dating my best friend at the time when I moved here, and she was vlogging every single day. It was like Vlogtober or something. And I
Mhm.
was like, I'm gonna join you guys. So
Was that like that was new? It was a very
yeah,
new.
it was like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
vlog every day for a month and then go back to your regular content. And so I was like, all right, I did October and then I'm gonna continue into November because like as the numbers were like going up, it was very like, pushing me to keep going. And then I just kept going, and then 5 years later, I was still doing it.
I don't know, like, what was it like? Like, did you have a whole schedule, routine? Did you kinda plan things out, or it was just you're literally taking the camera with
It's
you and
so
not thinking
weird.
much?
It starts off pretty difficult, but the more you do it, it just becomes part of your, like, daily routine
But, like,
that
what was your schedule? Like, 7 AM, wake up, get the camera? Like,
it
is it
was
like
different every single day. It was, like, just record every, like, moment that you think is, like, entertaining, and then I had an editor, so I would
I
send it
was gonna
off.
say, are you editing this too?
No,
Oh my
I would send it
gosh,
off at
yeah.
night and wake
Makes
up to
sense.
it, like, uploaded on my channel,
oh my
so it
Wow.
was
god.
so
It's like
nice.
live time, truly.
Yeah. But I
Wow.
think that's what, like, truly where I got my success because I was able to connect on, like,
Yeah.
a very personal level with my audience. Um, Something about daily vloggers that just really, like, is, like, such a intense
Mhm.
connection that you can have.
It's like streamers, you're literally
Yeah.
just there
Yeah.
and just
It's
talking
very
to them.
similar. Definitely.
Were
Wow.
you like, did you enjoy it? Were you happy
Yeah, were there
doing it?
times when you're like, "F this, man, I don't wanna
Because
do this
5 years is
anymore?"
crazy,
I
like,
know. Looking
every
back at it
day.
now, I'm like, I don't know how I did that. Um, but
Like,
I don't
how was the mental space? Like, being in front of the camera every day filming yourself, like, did you go out to lunches and you're like, "Hey, guys, like, I'm filming," and, like
That was always the awkward part is, like,
Mhm.
when do you decide to record with, like, people maybe you're not as comfortable with?
Mhm,
And there would definitely be awkward moments, but I think the part that mostly dealt with, like, my mental health was the numbers, and just, like,
mm,
seeing
Mm.
numbers go up, which was always
Mhm.
great, but when they started going down, that's when it really messes with your mind. Like,
mm,
I had a certain number that if it didn't hit in the hour that I uploaded, my whole day was ruined. It
Mm.
was like, if it
Mhm.
doesn't hit 100K in the first hour, like, I'm a flop, it's over. What's the point?
but
And
you had to do it
Yeah.
so
again the next day.
exactly, and I think that also kind of helped because it was like, "Oh, whatever, it didn't do well. There's always tomorrow."
It's funny
Mhm,
how TikTokers today, they'll be like, "Don't let this flop again, I'm re-uploading it." So it's interesting how, like, it's everyone's kind of embracing the flop because they know the
Yeah,
algorithm. Sometimes it's like a weird god in a way. It's like sometimes it blesses you, sometimes it
it
doesn't.
really
No one
it's
really knows what it wants.
yeah, exactly, and so I think it took a long time to allow myself to not let the numbers define me because there
Yeah.
is that algorithm that, like, it doesn't necessarily mean people aren't interested in you, it's just
mhm.
this almighty God just said, "Not this one, honey.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Try again tomorrow."
Yeah, it is hard to kind of detach your value from the numbers because the numbers is what gives you that power in a way, that
Yeah.
influence. And then when you don't see those numbers hitting what
Mhm.
you're expecting,
Yeah,
it
it
hurts.
can build you up and, like, give you the most confidence in the world, but as soon as it drops,
Do
it
you
takes it right
It's just like a
away.
drug if you think about it, right?
Absolutely,
It's totally a drug.
1,000% it's a
Yeah.
drug.
Wait, you're not daily vlogging yet,
I'm
right?
not,
Yeah.
no, but when I
When
do
did you stop? You stopped.
I wanna say in, like, 2018 maybe. I
Okay.
think I went or maybe it was before that.
Why'd you stop? Like, did you was this, like, the finish
It was
line?
the algorithm. I was like, "I
Yeah.
Mm,
need to switch up. Vlogs are not it right
yeah.
now. I
And
gotta
you're
switch up
good
my
at that.
content."
I've noticed you're so good at evolving. Like
Yeah.
that chameleon thing you were telling me
Yeah.
about, I see that it has influenced a lot on your format styles. Like it's really impressive.
Yeah, I think as a YouTuber, you're just constantly forced to change with the
You have to,
times. You
yeah.
have to evolve and pivot and go try something else. And it's so scary in that like transitional period because your audience knows you for one type of thing. And when you start doing something else, the numbers aren't going to be there. And
Yeah.
so you kind of just have to commit and keep
Yeah.
trying. And
Yep.
as long as you don't give up, then you'll do fine.
Yeah.
You've tried a lot,
I
like
have. Yeah, I've gone through so many phases,
There's so
so
many eras of Joey,
there
huh?
are.
Me and Michelle were, like, doom scrolling through
Yeah.
your feed on
Okay.
YouTube, and
It's
I
Yeah.
was like,
incredible.
"Joey's done everything." I was like,
It's incredible.
"He's, like, a food reviewer,
Yeah,
he's done, like, slime at one
there was a
point."
time I was literally cutting open stress toys
Yes!
and, like, squeezing out the juices. Those, for some reason, like, killed it. Like,
Did
they
you
were
like it? Like,
I
did
loved
Oh,
Wait,
it.
really?
what
Okay.
year was that? Was that when the year of like those
Maybe 2016,
ASMR? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It was, like,
That
such a
content
weird
did
time on
well.
YouTube. It was like
I love that time on
I
YouTube.
do
Like
too. It
that
was so
era.
easy
It was
and just
easy.
fun and stupid, so I enjoyed it.
And the internet was, like, kind of a brutal time at one point because Michelle, like, we talk a lot about her time on YouTube too, but, like, 2017, 2016, there was a lot going on.
Yeah, there was this whole Dramageddon thing in the beauty
Mhm.
space, and thankfully I took my hiatus. So I literally missed that whole thing. I'm so glad I missed it because I was kind of watching the whole thing fall apart
Literally the
from
doors
afar.
you open for them to do all that.
Facts.
It's
She
totally
walked, so
fine.
we all ran,
It's
okay?
totally
All of
Yeah,
fine.
us.
and they all tripped.
Yeah, okay,
It's
yeah, that's
okay.
true.
We've all been there. We've all been there. And I always tell people like YouTube, if you become a creator, it is going to be a massive test to your ego.
Yeah,
Massive, massive test. Like you have to kind of ask yourself, who's running the show? Is it my ego that's running the show or am I running the show?
yeah.
You know? And I think like I've known a lot of people who went in the game and they kind of got lost in the forest, right? I'm sure you know some people too, right?
No, for sure. I've always been, like, so fascinated by, like, your journey as well because obviously, like, I started in 2007, so you were, like, clearly the, like, top girl of YouTube, and then there was just, like, a period where everyone just knew you as, like, this incredible, like, YouTuber that transitioned to a businesswoman, and I think that was, like, so, like, the pinnacle, and, like, I feel like you're so, like, rare in the space to become so successful from a YouTube channel, so, like, I wanna, like, interview you now, like, I just think that was so cool, like, what
Thank
was
you.
that, like, experience, like, that transition for
I
you?
think for me it's always been about like how can I have how can I make this sustainable for myself long term?
Yeah,
Because I kind of saw ahead and I knew like there's going to be a human bandwidth that I know that I will not be able to fulfill. You know, like
okay,
I couldn't do that. I don't know how you did it. Honestly, I'm so impressed with just your commitment and your discipline and your motivation to continue doing these vlogs. Like I knew for me, there's going to be a limit.
okay,
So I was forced to put on this business hat
okay,
to survive in a way. Like my survival instincts are really strong. And I think it
okay,
comes from my parents. They're Vietnamese. They survived the
mhm,
war in Vietnam. So I think that's in my DNA is like, how can I
wow,
survive? How can I hustle?
okay,
And that just turned on. And it was just putting myself in a place where I was open to learn because I went to art school like you. I
oh,
literally went to
okay,
illustration school. I wanted to do character design for
yeah,
video game characters because I love video games.
okay,
And in 2008 crash happened The economy was completely
Mhm.
destroyed. No one was getting hired as an illustrator. And I had to figure out, how am I going to pay back my debt? And also, how am I going to make a living?
Yeah.
And that's when I saw YouTube as an opportunity to go from hobbyist to let's make money on AdSense.
Yeah.
And so that survival thing turned on, and somehow it was this business thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I think all of us at that time, it all just, like, because there was no making money on YouTube, it
there
was kind of
wasn't.
just like a hobby, like, I'm sure that's probably how it started for you?
Yeah, yeah, for
And
sure. Because
then
Partners Program came, I think, in 2009 or
mhm.
8. So it came way later.
Yeah,
We were
I
doing
remember
this for
that.
free for a long time, if you
Yeah, we
think about
were.
it.
Do you remember when they had, like, the little banners at the top, and then,
Yeah.
like, if you became a partner, you got, like, the thick one,
Yeah.
and, like, it was so fun to, like, design those?
My favorite thing was I could pick my thumbnail. That was
Yes.
game changer for me.
Yeah, there was, like, a period on time, if you guys don't know, you had if you wanted a thumbnail for your video, you had to, like, include, like, a little clip at the very middle of the video
Yeah.
for it to be your thumbnail,
Yeah.
and then they implemented choose your own thumbnail at some
Yeah,
point.
for partners only. It was
Yeah.
only available for us,
Mhm.
which for me was game changer.
Yeah.
Like I literally wanted partner just so I can have that.
Yeah.
And it changed everything. It's like having it's like choosing the right cover for your album art.
Yeah.
You know, if
It
you're in a record store, people are going to be attracted to the album art.
yeah,
That's how I felt about the thumbnails. Is
totally.
there's a whole art to this and everything.
And all your videos, I feel like were so like you were always one step ahead of everyone on the platform. Like I remember watching this like the old school like Lady Gaga makeup
Yeah.
tutorial and like you did the effect on your eyes and I was like, what is this? And like now looking back at it and like the quality is like
Yeah.
not the best, but at the time it was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is revolutionary. How
Yeah.
did she do that?
Now we have filters.
Yeah,
Now we have filters that do this.
The tutorial was so iconic and it literally paved the way of how YouTube
it
looked
really did.
Yeah.
afterwards.
And it's interesting how like creators can create formats. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you have creators who can create formats. Then you have creators who can take a format and blend it well with their storytelling. So there's just because when people ask me about advice on being a creator and all that, I'm like, it's so much more nuanced than just turning a camera on.
Yeah.
You know, you have to think about everything, like the character you're playing or you're performing as, and the chameleon thing and the formatting and everything. And there was no school for this, right? We kind of had to figure it out along the way, right?
Yeah. It's so interesting.
How did you shape your content? Because
Hmm.
it keeps transforming year after year. Like, do you
Yeah.
sit down and you're like, hey, like it's gotta transition a little bit. It's gotta
Yeah. Are
evolve.
you just like licking your
Yeah.
finger and just putting it up in the air and
Yeah.
just feeling the wind, the algorithm wind?
The thing is, like, if you only focus on the, like, algorithm and, like, the other content that you think is gonna perform well, it's one, not going to convey to the audience that you're actually enjoying that type of content or
Mm.
it feels authentic, um, or you're just gonna burn out after a while. So I think it's like a mix of finding that nice balance, which I've found right now. I tried doing a React channel and I was reacting to a lot of Jubilee and cut videos and like they have this like format of like a white wall where they do a lot of social experiment type stuff. And I was like, I want to be in one of these so bad. And I was like, "You know what? How about I just do it myself?" So I kind of transitioned to doing similar content to that, but gayifying it
Oh,
and doing a
cute.
lot
Yeah,
more
yeah.
LGBTQ content. Um, because they had like a video was like, which of these guys is gay? And they only had one of those, but they had so much straight content on there. And so then I just started doing a lot of like the gay versions of their videos on my channel.
And are you enjoying like the process
I
of creating
am.
it?
It's
Yeah.
so much fun
And your
and
audience will feel that. They know you're having fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's also less stressful for me because I can film 4 in a day and then that's my whole month. I get
That's
1 shoot day
amazing.
I
That's
love
and then I
that.
can
amazing. Yeah.
focus on other projects and other channels. So it definitely makes the most sense right now for me. So that's like my current era.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's because you're as you're evolving and growing as a creator and also like, growing older too, like you just know yourself more. Like you
Yeah.
know what you enjoy and you know what you don't like and you know
Mhm.
what's for you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you feel like you can turn off your offline online persona when you're offline? Like,
Oh,
or do you think
100%.
Cuz you know how some can't, right? You know what I mean?
Say their names.
Well,
Come on.
tea
I
time?
Let's
Just
spill the
kidding.
I will
tea.
I will say it offline. No, but there's like there's a lot of them that I've met where I'm like, whoa, like they're just
Hmm.
constantly performing, and I'm just wondering
Yeah.
like how exhausting is that going to be, or maybe they're just used to it. Um,
Yeah.
to me, it's not sustainable. If it was
No.
me,
No, definitely not. I'm very much like such like a homebody, and like I just love my comfort as a tourist. Like I'm just
oh, we
very
know,
yeah.
we know.
So I when I turn off, I fully turn off and I just want to chill
That's
most of the
great.
That's
time.
good.
So
That makes sense because you're one of the few creators on YouTube that started around when I started,
mhm.
and you just feel so light. Feel
Yeah.
so light, and I think it's because you probably did a lot of the inner work, the healing
Yeah.
work, and
I've
also
done
like you turn that off, which I think a lot of creators don't know how important it is to turn
it's
that
definitely a
off.
learning process of
Yeah.
like when to where and when to give your energy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, the therapy stuff, like I've definitely done a lot of that. I did like a week long retreat up in like Northern California where like I gave in my phone and we did this like very
That's
intense like
amazing.
healing process. And it's so crazy. Like at the end of that week, I didn't even want my phone back. I was like,
Wow.
this has like
Wow.
actually been so nice. And time really slows down when you don't have all the distractions.
Mm.
It's true. Yeah.
And as soon as like I got back to reality, it was like time felt so weird. It felt like it was just speeding up so fast.
Yeah.
Um,
Was it hard integrating back into reality,
yeah,
coming from that Zen?
they recommended to like just spend like a day on your own before you head back
Yeah. Yeah.
into the real world, which is like so crazy. It's like just 1 week, like really can like make a difference. It's weird.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that it's not normal and natural for humans to be this connected to
Yeah.
everything around the world. Like we know about everything that's happening around the world, an earthquake here, a war here.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know that back then, and now we're so exposed to it. And that's why I
It's
think a lot of the youth, there's just so much anxiety
yeah,
in this young generation because they're exposed to too much, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I agree. The mental health like effects
Did
are
you experience any time, like, during those 5 years or even the last 2 decades,
yeah.
like, was there, like, a pinnacle moment where you're like, "This is too much for me?" Like, you questioned even doing YouTube?
Yeah. I think it was like 2020,
Mhm.
when everything like slowed down
Mm,
and I think people took to the internet to let a lot of their anger out. And
Mm.
so I I think I saw and I think it's still very prevalent now online. People are just very angry. And so it's just become a very toxic environment that you like I mean, I've fully removed myself from Twitter. I think that's really like the negative space that I see the most hate. YouTube I feel like is fine, but it there's definitely points where it's like, is this even do I want to be online to allow myself around this like energy?
Mm.
yeah.
Um like maybe it'll just be easier if I just like go off into the English countryside and just kind of live a off-grid life.
A new era. A
Yeah,
new
no,
era.
honestly, I see that for
That's
myself
cute
where like
though.
I will have like a bunch of farm animals
Yeah.
and like live my simple life out there.
I think it's beautiful. I
Um,
think it's so authentic. And I think that's what the audience they want. They want to see a creator evolve,
yeah.
Mhm.
not just stay the same. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to live in Hollywood forever and be this thing,
I don't know.
you know?
I feel like the audience is kind of resistant to change.
Really?
I don't think that they like when a creator changes.
Why do you think so?
I think because they become a comfort to them, they become
Mm,
a stable
that makes sense.
person
Yeah.
in their life, and when they see they're changing, it suddenly feels like, "Wait, I didn't agree to this, like, you
Yeah.
can't move there,"
Mm,
like,
Yeah.
mm.
so which I understand, like, I would feel
Would
that
you call
way.
it, is it kind of linked to the whole parasocial relationship that the viewers have with,
I
you
think
know,
so, it
the
could
creator,
be.
where they feel like you're my friend and
Yeah.
I have a really close relationship with you? And like you said, we didn't agree to this.
Yeah. I think that could be, definitely.
I love a good self care ritual, and hair care plays a huge part in that. Growing up, I never thought how important it was to find the right shampoo and conditioner for your hair type. and I have very naturally thick hair. And it's very hard to style and to manage, and also finding products that can keep my hair hydrated without weighing it down. And I always thought that you can use any shampoo and conditioner and it's gonna work with your hair type. That's not entirely true. It's definitely been a struggle until I found Way Hair Care. I love discovering products that work and formulations that deliver. So when I discovered their thick hair shampoo and conditioner and how it actually transformed my hair, seeing how my thick hair became softer and just more manageable, it's really transformed my hair journey. I think what makes Way different than all the other hair care brands is that they are very focused on the different hair types. So if you have thin hair, medium hair, or thick, coarse hair like myself, you can find a formulation that suits your hair type. On days when I find that my scalp just feels like it needs a nice thorough cleanse, Way's Detox Shampoo is my go-to. It removes all the product buildup and excess oil, leaving my scalp feeling refreshed and my hair lighter and healthier. And if you're looking for an extra boost of hydration, definitely give Way's Hair Mask a try. It's perfect for taming frizz, restoring moisture, and strengthening my hair. So, if you're looking to enhance your hair care routine by finding products that suit your hair type, definitely give Way a try. So just head on over to theway.com/afterglow if you want 15% off of any product. That's theway.com/afterglow. THEOUAI.com/afterglow. That's THEOUAI.com/afterglow. Trust me, your hair is going to thank you.
We'll get into Escape the Night and
Oh, okay,
everything,
yeah.
but you also wrote like a trilogy. You
Yeah.
are an author.
Yep.
How did this come about?
You wrote like 5
I
books.
know.
That's
It's
insane.
so the first book was a book about my life, and I got like a lot of flack for it because it's like I was like 25 at the time coming out with like a memoir. But for me there was like so many stories that I wanted to share
You've
with
lived
my
so many lives even at
that
that age.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get, and I feel like the stuff that I went through was stuff that teenagers that I
Yeah.
had a huge following could
Yeah.
relate to. I'm not going to have the audience forever, so like
Yeah.
let me like give them like something that could be helpful in that moment. Instead, when I'm like 50 and like I have two fans, like let's get them the stories now. And then
Did you write it yourself or did you like was there like a
I had
ghostwriter?
a co-writer.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way
It's
like
too much work.
I grew
Yeah.
up in special needs classes. So like
Mm.
for me being an author was like never saw that coming at all. Like
Was there a
Yeah.
reason why you grew up in
I had a learning disability with
Okay.
Wait, is it the lead thing? You're
yeah, I had
eating
lead paint
lead.
poison.
Yes, that's crazy.
So yeah, becoming an author was definitely not on like the cards for me ever. So teaming up with someone who could like, really like help me with my vision,
Yeah.
uh, made it happen.
and then
So
it transformed into you writing a series.
yeah, so that
Like
was my Children of Eden series, which
yeah.
was a fictional story that was um, a bit dystopian, utopian, which kind of actually I think is more relevant now because there's like an AI
Mhm.
element to it that at the time AI wasn't really like
Oh,
a big
you're
thing.
ahead.
I
Ooh,
know.
you
I'm like,
tapped into a
let's get this
frequency.
made into a movie
Yeah.
now. Like,
Yeah.
I know.
Honestly, I'd watch it.
Okay.
I love like
You got to
just
teach me your manifesting ways
okay,
to make
okay.
this
Yeah,
stuff
yeah. We'll
happen
do the
because
manifestation movie and I'm
okay.
telling you, it works.
All
It
right.
works.
And then you
It's
guys can
amazing.
come back here and you'll know this is where it all started.
This is all
Yes.
proof.
Yeah.
Would you write another book?
I am writing one right now, and this is
Wow.
like
Another memoir part
exclusive.
2?
Ooh.
I don't know.
No, this
You
is
know?
another fictional story.
That's
But
fun.
not related to
Nope.
okay.
It's a separate one.
Is
Okay,
it
So
fun.
romance?
there it's um there is aspect of romance in it, but it's mostly like sisterhood. Even though I'm
Mm.
like a boy, I
No,
just
your Cancer moon's really strong.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I think women are the best ever, and so I love writing women and their stories and stuff, and so this is a very strong woman story.
Wow.
Yeah.
When
Wow.
does it come out? We don't know.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're still writing it.
I'm still writing it.
Okay.
Mhm.
I feel like we've like talked about like the hundreds of lives you've lived.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like what's one like standout you're like, hey, like this is so different from where I started.
I think one of the biggest things, I think a lot of people put limitations on what they think they can accomplish,
Mm,
and that like almost like puts them at a disadvantage in life. And I feel like as long as you believe that that thing is possible,
mm,
um, it is possible. Like it can happen. So like some of these things where it's like I had this idea as a kid, like I'll never write a book. Like I am just this kid who's in special needs classes. Like how will I ever like accomplish anything? Like I had to throw that all away to allow myself to push past those boundaries that I had created in my head because if you limit yourself, like you will be limited for like the rest of your life. Like you will never get past
mm.
that. So I think just believe.
Who taught you that?
My
Or you
stepdad,
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
he like instilled in me a lot as a kid that anything was possible. Um, and I really believed him. And I think without him, I would have really struggled to have those beliefs.
Yeah. The power of just the thoughts running in your mind
Yeah,
is
it
everything.
really
I don't think
is.
people realize it.
And having someone to like be your cheerleader
Mhm.
to
Yep.
help train your mind to think that
Yeah.
way is so important. So like as parents, like I think they have such a responsibility to their kids to
Oh,
not
yeah.
put those
Yeah.
limitations on.
Right.
Um, but at the end of the day, also like no one's gonna fight harder for the things that you want than yourself.
Yep.
Right.
So you can't just sit around and wait for these things to happen. Sometimes that does like you'll get like a invitation or an email to like of these opportunities, but you're gonna make these opportunities happen at the end of the day. So you
Totally.
have to go out and like make them happen.
I
True.
think a lot of people are scared of failure and rejection, and that's why they don't even want to take the
Yeah,
first step
for
because there's a
sure.
lot of that self-limiting belief system that they have installed in their head.
No, definitely. And I think a lot of people also, like, including myself, like, I look at these other creators or these celebrities and I think, like, oh, they got that, like, opportunity. That's their life. That will never happen to me. So, like, why even try?
Right.
Um, but it can also happen to you.
Comparing is probably the worst thing people can do to themselves,
Yeah,
right?
I
When
definitely
we compare ourselves to
I
others.
do that a lot.
I
So,
think we all do.
okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
we all
phew.
I
It's
think
only
it's very
natural.
Oh, I
human.
thought it was just
I
me.
think it's very human and it's the quickest way to kill something special is
Mm.
comparing it to something else,
Yeah,
you know? But
feel that.
no, that's so amazing that despite like you were saying like learning disability and all of that, you didn't let that narrative control your future. You
Yeah.
were able to kind of in a way have an ego death of that narrative and create a new identity that you were
Yeah.
embracing.
I think a little of it comes from delusion. It's good to be
Yeah,
delusional.
just a
Yeah,
little
But delusion
you
is
percent.
need
like
it.
believing. You have to
Yeah.
believe
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
to accomplish anything.
Exactly.
A little Delulu is good.
It
Yeah, just a little.
is.
You gotta have
You
like
need
a pinch of
it.
it. You need to,
Yes.
because then you're not gonna like. There's gonna be so much judgment on yourself.
Yeah.
I
The
feel
fake it till you make it is very legitimate.
it does work
It
to an
does.
extent.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like 2015, the 2015 to 2020. How would you describe the YouTube community during this time?
Mm. Oh my gosh. I
Like
mean,
Michelle too. Like how what would you guys describe this time during
I thought it was the golden
it's
age,
absolutely
right?
the
It was
golden
the
age. I
golden
would
age of
include
YouTube.
2014 in that.
Oh yeah,
2014,
2014.
honestly
yeah.
2012 too. Like the
That was
Yeah,
a good time
yeah.
like
too.
2014 up into 2016. Maybe like 2013 to 2016
Yeah.
was it was so magical on
It
YouTube.
really like, why? Like, what was it? Was it just
I think like well YouTube was putting a lot of money into investing in creators. You
yeah,
know, they weren't I mean later on they were throwing money at Will Smith and the
right.
A-lister stars, but I think when they were focusing on the creators, which in my opinion, that's what made YouTube
Yeah,
was creators.
definitely.
Um I think this is where we just saw a lot of collaborations, a lot of
Yeah.
different formats, people experimenting, and everyone was I'm not saying supportive of each other, but everyone kind of they stayed in their lane and they were doing their things.
No, I think the support was there. I remember, like, Twitter, like, if anyone had, like, a big project, like a book or a movie, every single, like, creator was, like, promoting it. Like,
Oh,
it
that's
just felt
true. Yeah.
so, like, we were all in this together, like,
Yeah.
anyone's success was all of our
Mm.
success.
It was before the adpocalypse.
Oh,
It was
right.
before that
What
when
is
the
the adpocalypse?
so the adpocalypse, basically a lot of the big brands pulled out of YouTube
Yeah.
because they didn't want their ads to roll on content that was just not family friendly, or
Yeah.
they'd rather put the ads on Hulu
Gotcha.
where the content is more premium and family
Yeah.
friendly.
So what happened
Yeah.
to the money? Like, where did the
Well,
money
we
go?
saw like I knew some people that saw a 70% drop in revenue, which is massive. Like I don't know if it was Foodie or one of like the bigger one of those channels where they just, they just make a crap load of content, and
Yeah.
they also optimize on Facebook too. I
Okay.
think a lot of them had to go out of business
Yeah.
because they had everything down to the numbers, and it was all about the numbers. And
Dang.
when your ads take that much of a dive,
Yeah.
it completely disrupts cash flow
Absolutely.
and everything.
Yeah, but before that, everything was
Yeah,
great.
everything was
We
great
were,
before
like, living in,
Adpocalypse.
like I think it was also, like, a time where everything was just simple.
Mm.
Like, the
Yeah.
challenges that YouTubers were doing with each other were just so, like, silly and, like, easy. It was so easy to film, and everyone was collabing
Yeah.
with each
You
other.
collabed with everyone.
Everyone.
Why didn't you not collab with Michelle? I was like, we were
Because
like
she was
scroll.
the queen, like, she was
Oh.
untouchable,
No,
like
it was I was untouchable. I was in a hermit mode. I was going down a very deep esoteric path. I was like
she
learning.
had ascended to, like, another
Yeah,
thing
I
that,
was
like
going through my thing.
That's
I'm
true.
so mad I never went on your show.
Oh, I know, that
I'm
would've
like,
been so
I
good.
know. You gotta you're bringing it back, or are you evolving that, or
So yeah, that was like I've always been like a huge person of collaborating. I knew that was like the success on YouTube was bringing creators together. And so when I had this murder mystery idea, I wanted to basically put like a group of YouTubers in a setting where they were all in cool costumes and they were competing against each other like a reality show because it hadn't been done before. And I was like, this will be epic and
Mm.
like something that no one's seen before. And so I pitched the idea to YouTube. They loved it and they gave me funding to create the first season. And uh, casting was actually really difficult for the first season because a lot
really?
of people had no idea what I was doing.
Who was in the first one again? The first season, it was like Shane.
Shane Glozell, My Life is Ava, I Justine, Timothy De
Oh
Wow.
my
Lagetto.
gosh.
Um, but I'm very happy with the cast that it ended up being. And then from there, I got 3 more seasons.
That's amazing.
Um, and it was just like a total ride. Like I got to just like fully let my imagination run free. YouTube was basically like my sugar daddy.
Wow.
They just gave me like the money and had really no notes on creative. They just let me like
That's
fly
Wow.
free and
amazing.
do whatever I wanted to do. Um, and
I love
they believed in
I
me.
love how supportive YouTube is to the creators. That's
Yeah.
something that I always tell people, like, out of all the platforms, YouTube has been the most supportive.
Yeah.
For them to bankroll you like that,
Oh my
that's
god. I
amazing.
know.
Yeah.
I
How
was
long was
just
that
like
pitch process, by the way?
so this was actually it's there was like a competing company called Vessel.
I
Do
remember
you?
Vessel. They
Okay.
got bought by one of like AT&T or something like that.
Oh,
They were trying
okay.
to be the YouTube killer, and
Yeah,
they
they
pitched to
were.
me to be on it, but I was like, how can you kill YouTube? Like YouTube's owned by Google. Like there's
Yeah.
just it's gonna be really hard.
They basically wanted to window
Yeah,
creators'
yeah.
content by like 2 days or something.
Yeah.
And so they offered a lot of people like I want to say like hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yeah,
to
they're offering a lot of
basically
money.
post. They asked for a lot of videos though. Like
Didn't
Wow.
make sense,
yeah,
yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I can even
Yeah.
like commit to
A
that.
lot of
Like
exclusive
especially
content.
like daily vlogging, I was like, I post the next day. Like, how am I gonna do
Windowing.
yeah, 3
Windowing doesn't
days?
make sense, yeah.
So anyways, YouTube got wind that I was being poached through
Ooh,
my
they got
lovely agency at the
jealous.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And literally I had to sign a deal at like 9 p.m. Like all my agents and my
Whoa.
managers were like, you need to sign this tonight. Like YouTube's coming in. They've offered you um I think it was like a good amount of money to create a show. I think it was like maybe $500,000
That's
to create a
amazing.
show.
Yeah.
And then they hadn't created YouTube Red at the time or YouTube Originals. So
Oh,
this was
wow,
just
this
an
was before.
anti like we want
Yeah.
you to not go to Vessel. Like we
Which
want
is such a
just
compliment
we'll make you a
too.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was I was like, "Oh
I'm
my
so
god,
glad they
me?"
I know, a bidding war.
Yeah. And so then they're like, come in, pitch us like 5 ideas, and we'll make whatever one we like best.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I pitched them like a travel show of me going to Japan and like exploring like the underground like shops and stuff of like in the subway systems because the whole
Yeah.
subway systems are just like amazing and beautiful. And so there was that one. I had like a sci-fi one, and then like this escape the night idea I had was my last idea that I just kind of threw in there. And they're like, "What about that one? Can you
No
explain this one a
way.
little
It's
bit
always
more?"
like that.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I started just making stuff up in the
Yeah.
meeting, and they're like,
No way.
"Let's do this one." And
Wow.
Yeah,
so
I love
then
that.
they were like, "Okay, wait. We're doing this thing called YouTube Red. We're thinking of transitioning that show to this. We'll give you more money." And I was like, "Okay, sure." And because I was like one of the first creators to have a show with them, my contract was so nice because I don't
Wow.
think anybody else got the rights to their show. So I have
That's
all the rights to Escape the
amazing.
Night now.
That's
And so
amazing.
the plan is um for me to kind of wrap up Escape the Night with the crowdfunding that I just did. I raised enough money to make another episode.
Yay.
So I'm gonna kind of like cap that 4 seasons off and go and pitch Escape the Night as a refresh on another network and start from scratch with the same format, but not have it be a continuation of what the first 4 seasons were.
Would you want the cast to still be kind of YouTube driven, or would you want it to be a little bit more broader?
I think going to another network, that's going to be an issue. I would love to incorporate digital stars, but I think going to like a Netflix or Hulu, they're gonna want to have like
Mhm.
reality
Sure.
stars,
Which would be so
other
fun.
type of
Yeah, that would be
celebrities.
really
I
fun.
think it's fun to mix
Yeah,
those all
I
together,
agree. I
but
agree.
there will absolutely be YouTubers
You could have some like
100%.
Love Island people, some like
Yeah,
that. That could be so
exactly.
Oh, I love
fun.
it. Throw
So
a little bit of the trashiness in there.
Michelle, are
Like,
you gonna
yeah.
go on?
Yeah.
hell yeah, I'm
Yeah,
there. I'm
okay.
there for you. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Sign me
yeah,
up.
that's the plan for Escape the Night moving forward now
How
that
was the energy on set? Like the first few
Yeah,
seasons?
how do
Like,
you maintain so many different, I'm
ugh,
gonna quote unquote egos? There's a
exhausting.
lot of egos,
So
you know?
exhausting.
A lot of main characters you have to like
Every For the most
manage.
part, everybody was very good.
That's awesome.
But because it was my show and not only am I like a cast member hanging out with the
yeah.
cast, I'm also a producer. Like this is my show.
Yeah,
Like,
you're calling the shots.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I want everything to run smoothly. So it would be hard to hear the cast complain about certain
Mhm.
things while I'm like there. I'm like, how do I fix this? How do I make them comfortable in like every way
How did you
possible?
balance life?
It was really difficult, but
Yeah.
it was just 5 days, and it was honestly so much fun as well because it was like a
Mhm.
slumber party, and it was very rare to get that much quality time with other creators because most of the time we're collabing and then leaving and
Yeah.
going off with our lives. Um, but it was like having like a little summer camp with like
That's so cute.
other creators,
Yeah.
and we just bonded so much. Um, okay, so I actually have an idea for a dating show.
Okay.
Um,
Love that.
it's called Love at First Sign.
Like
Ooh.
So
astrology sign?
yes,
Ooh,
so it would
I'm
be
so here for it.
a bachelor or bachelorette dating the 12 signs without
Oh my
knowing their
god.
signs until they're eliminated. So
Mm.
I did like a proof of concept with Tana Mojo on my channel. It was like a very stripped down version of like her dating the 12 zodiac signs and then they reveal at the end. Um, but I just find it so fascinating to know like, does astrology actually play
Mhm.
a role in compatibility? And so would the person end up choosing the person
Mm.
that like an astrologer would be like, okay, your charts align perfectly and see
That's so
Yeah.
what
interesting.
happens at
Well,
the
we would
end.
have to have access to their entire chart. Like, what's their Mercury?
Oh,
What's their
for
moon?
sure.
What's their
Yes, the
Venus?
whole chart.
Because Venus is going to be, I mean, if you're going to get into a
Yep.
relationship, you should find out what their Venus sign is going to
So,
be.
do you know like what a compatible Venus sign is?
Well, it depends on what your Venus sign is. So let's say your Venus sign is, just going to say Cancer,
Okay.
right? Ideally, you would want to find
I think it is.
someone.
Wait, should I look it up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
look
yeah,
it
look it
up.
up.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, so my Mercury, wait, Mercury?
Yeah,
Venus.
Venus.
Venus. My Venus is Cancer.
Oh,
Oh.
wow, I'm, like, on a
She was
roll.
all
I
Yeah.
yeah.
mean, before we rolled, I already guessed
She
his
was
astrology sign. I'm like, "You're
yeah.
Taurus, aren't you?"
Uh-huh.
I have an interesting question.
Okay.
So, do you feel like YouTubers have an expiration date? Like Michelle and I have talked
Ah, yeah,
about this,
yeah.
but
Ooh.
Yeah.
Um, yes and no. I think, as long as you're able to shift things up and pivot and move to different styles, no, you're fine. You can go on for
Mhm,
as long. But I think if you're still trying to make the same thing happen and it's
mhm,
not happening, um, I think that's when the expiration date happens.
Mhm.
I think it's very easy to like be set in your ways and be scared to try new things.
right,
Um, but you kind of have to,
right.
unfortunately. And I I've struggled with that a lot because I am a bit stubborn and I like my comfort in doing the same thing.
What's your comfort? Like, what's right now like
Um, well, I'm lucky right now that what I'm doing right now is working. So I'm comfortable because it's all going well, but there's been very uncomfortable moments where
Mhm,
I've been trying new things and not loving what I'm doing and just doing it to do it. And that that definitely felt like, oh God, I'm expiring right now
mhm.
because I'm not having fun. The views aren't doing well. So I feel very lucky right now that I'm in a good place.
I feel like YouTubers, I mean, like you guys can both attest to this. It's not necessarily maybe an expiration date,
Yeah.
but it's just like the longevity of the career. Michelle and I, we like talked
Mhm.
about so much of it.
It's
Yeah.
so short.
Yeah.
It's very short for, like, a lot of digital creators, I mean,
Yeah.
and
What are
it's
your thoughts on
I think, like, it's always important to have an exit plan. I'm a believer in having
Yeah, I
exit
mean,
plans.
you're the professional at this. Like I feel like
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
pivoted so well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think it's important to kind of it's almost like imagining like if you were to have kids, right? Just having kids in general. You don't have to, but like you have to project yourself in the future, your future generation. Who's going
mm,
to inherit your channel? Who's going to inherit your money? I try to project that far to kind of push myself, push that survival thing to
yeah.
continue on like, okay, what does 20 years look like for me? What does retirement look like for me?
Okay.
And I think I'm the type of person where I don't think I could retire as in like be on an island and just drink mojitos all day. I would be
Okay.
so I need to continue doing
Yeah.
things, but doing things because I enjoy doing it and not doing things for the money. To me,
Yeah.
that's retirement.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how you would define retirement for you. What is
Um,
retirement for like Joey?
I honestly haven't really thought about this. I think I love Japan. I would love to retire. It's the only place in the world that I've traveled to lately that it feels like the world is so peaceful. There's just
Mm,
like an energy, like a collective energy of the people there that are just so happy and it's so different from the US
Mm.
that I would just love to just retire there and just like
you see yourself dating a Japanese man?
I would
Honestly?
be open to it.
Really?
Yeah, or if I have a husband by that point, move there
Oh,
together
I love that.
and
They are opening a lot to expats now. Like they're
oh,
allowing a lot of immigration because I think um just they're not having a lot of kids and so they need to maintain
oh,
the population. So they're
PewDiePie
starting to
moved
open.
there.
the what?
PewDiePie, he
Yeah, he
moved there.
did.
He moved there
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and he
Yeah.
has a baby there. Like they
Yeah,
started a family
I
there.
know.
So
It's
it's
crazy. It's
possible.
definitely
It's very
possible
possible.
and I love it there so much. So, maybe
What's like the legacy you want to leave behind? Because like truly you've like done so much. Like what's kind of what you want to be known for?
I am just such like a storyteller at heart. So I
Mm,
just want to continue to be able to keep telling my fantasy stories and see
I love
them
that.
come to life. So I would love to eventually have uh those stories become something that people know me for.
Video game. Would that be a
Yes,
dream project?
absolutely.
Really?
I absolutely love the choose your own adventure video games.
Me too.
Mm,
I
And
love
so
those ones. Yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
so
They're so
good.
fun.
And imagine when like AI starts getting
Yeah.
involved and like it just becomes even more like
Okay.
personalized
I
to
could
the
connect you to the
player.
right person. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I know a lot of people in the space that are developing. games. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that would be yes, please. Oh, that's so cool.
There's because I know a lot of people, AI is such a controversial
It
topic. Like
definitely is,
it's
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna have my job? And I'm a believer in everything should evolve. Like
Mhm.
did you know back then there was a legitimate job where you would have to knock on someone's door to wake them up? That was a job back then. And imagine like people who are breeding horses for travel and then the car automobile comes out. What happens to them? They're not extinct. There's still people who breed horses, but it's for a different reason. So I think like we're just going to see evolution of how work is going to change. In my opinion, I believe the work that's going to be more 9 to 5 in the future will be stuff that we do, content creation. I think.
You
I
think everyone already is like a
Yeah,
content
I
creator.
think
Like,
I think after 2020, a lot of people became content creators.
yeah.
Think about it like this, like even people who were doing like the morning shows on TV, they had to do it from home. That's how different is that from
Oh,
us if you think
yeah.
about it, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that's kind of we're going in that direction. And this is why I think it's going to be really important to ask people like, you know, they need to be aware of knowing when to turn that off like cuz you're not content.
Mm.
You're a human
Mhm.
being. You make content, but you are not content. And I think there's a fine line that a lot of the youth they are not able to distinguish.
Yeah, you're so
Yes.
right. Like, whenever an incident or something happens, everybody's like on their phone, like
Yeah.
recording
Yeah.
it, and it just becomes like a Black Mirror episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
It's a
everything,
spectacle.
everything
Yeah.
is for content now, and it's scary because we saw it from the beginning, and it was
Yeah.
not that at all.
But I think it's going to be more normalized in my opinion. So
Mhm.
regardless, I feel like the people who are strong storytellers, they're not going to be replaced by AI. If anything, they're going to have these amazing set of tools that can help
Okay,
amplify.
that's a good positive way of thinking about
I
it.
I know
Yeah,
so. Yeah, like cuz I'm using a lot of these tools myself. Before in the past I'd have to hire like so many people to do certain things and now it's like I can do it myself and on top of that I get literally what I want. In fact, sometimes 200% better than what I expected.
yeah,
Name me anything that you pay for where you get 200% better when it
yeah.
comes to like stuff, right? Honestly, like when you're commissioning like I don't know, anything.
Yeah, no, it's been
200%
helpful.
is
Yeah,
really good
it
upside.
is nice to be able to exactly explain your vision, um, and have something
Yeah.
be presented to you how you thought.
Right.
But that's crazy, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, but we're definitely I think our role as creators is just to continue paving the way and um I think like legacy is an interesting question because
Yeah.
like legacy comes from I think it's a Latin word for to be written or to be read, worthy to be read. So it's like legacy is like what is the story that you want to leave behind where it's worthy to be read,
Mm.
like your
Hmm,
human story, something to think about.
I do need to think about that. Oh my gosh.
Kind of talked about the legacy thing, but like,
Yeah.
let's say like next 5 years, what do you want to do? What can we expect from
I
you?
have like a vision. I definitely want to be creating movies and see like my books be
I
turned
totally see that.
into.
I totally see that in you.
Okay,
I really
I love
do.
that.
Yeah.
I also am now looking to start my own brand. So I have a dedicated channel to animal rescue where I rescue pregnant animals and help raise puppies, sometimes kittens,
Oh,
and document the whole process. And that kind of brought me back
That's
to daily
beautiful.
blogging because I have like a focus and like
mhm.
um, stars of the show. And so it takes it less off me and more onto them and,
Mm.
taking care of them. So I would like to start a pet brand and have my products involved in the rehabilitation. So probably like some shampoos and type of nutrient
I
type
love that.
That's
stuff.
so beautiful.
I love that. Thanks for having me, you
Yeah,
guys. This
thank
is so
you for
fun.
coming. We're so happy you got to come on. Thank you.